Hi, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you today. So the workshop today is about finding your market fit, right? And about how do you really validate and adapt your business model as you go forward. So I've kind of broken it up into three parts of the journey, which is the 0 to 1, the 1 to 10, and the 10 to 100. And for us, these three parts were actually marked by three different areas where we really focused on, which was opportunities, learning, and communities. So let's dive in. Now, to just set the agenda straight, in this, first we're going to talk about, frankly, what is market fit? How do we find that? How does it evolve with scale? And we'll use the Herkey journey as a real life case study to kind of demonstrate how that journey evolved. So let's talk about the 0 to 1 part, which was the opportunities part. Now, like Neha mentioned, when I started Herkey, and at that time it was called Jobs for Her, some of you might even know that as Jobs for Her, it was for a very simple problem statement, which was how do you get women back to work after taking a break? And when I did the initial market research, I realized that some of the statistics showed that there were 20 million women in India who had taken a break and couldn't get back to work. Now, it was obvious, the why was very obvious, right? We needed to get these women back to work because it was very good for the women. It was, very, very good for families. It was very, very good for society and very good for our economy. And if we really want India to become that developed nation in the future, we need our women to participate equally in the workplace. And today, by the way, India is amongst the lowest countries in the world when it comes to women labor force participation rates. When I started Jobs for Her, we were at 20%. Today, 10 years in, we are at 37%. That is still low compared to China, which is at 60%, and the US, which is at 55%. Also, male participation rates in India are 80%. So I think these were the stats which kind of prompted me to say that, look, this is a problem that needs to be solved. And if somebody should solve this problem, why should that problem not be solved by me? And with that simple thought, I really embarked on this journey, on this 0 to 1 journey. Now, in the beginning, when I started talking to women, the biggest thing that women told me about why they are not being able to get back to work, they said because companies will not take us back. And that is why I realized that no matter what we do, we first need to make sure that there are enough opportunities for these women to be able to return to the workplace. This, by the way, when I spoke to companies, it was quite validated in the fact that enough companies felt comfortable enough to tell us that we don't want to hire women, we don't want to hire women returnees because they'll be kitty party women, or we don't want to hire mothers because they have too much on their plate and they can't manage work. So for the first year, by the way, we literally asked companies that you please come and you post your job openings for free on the platform. We will not charge you anything. You hire women also and we will not charge you anything. But keep in mind that this is a platform for women returnees, okay? And this is why you should, by the way, hire these women returnees. And we never went at it from a social angle. We never said you should do this because it's good for society, right? Because, I mean, being a Wharton grad, I think I understand why businesses exist. And I told them about why they should hire women returnees. It was because they were experienced, they were qualified, they were coming with this fire in their bellies to prove themselves again, and they would join you with no notice period. And so we started. I think, in fact, the day we launched Herkey, which was on International Women's Day in 2015, we had 20 companies that were listed on the platform that had listed their jobs for free on the platform. By the end of that year, that 20 companies had become 2,000. Now, in the beginning, the execution for that first year, the 0 to 1 journey, was a lot of MVP method, which is the minimum viable proposition. We really believed in the lean startup methodology, which is that if you want to really validate your hypothesis, you create something really quick and dirty and you put it out there. So I literally took, I think, 1 month to get an agency to build a WordPress theme, use a WordPress theme template, and launched the first version of Jobs for Her. And then during that first month, by the way, anytime a woman applied to a job on the platform, that application would come to me and to one of my employees. We used to go through it and see if it was relevant. We used to forward it to the company. That's how manual it was for the first full year. And because we were learning, we were figuring it out, for example, that what kind of jobs are actually good fitments when it comes to getting women back. Like we realized, for example, a job which has niche technologies, with the latest technologies is difficult because that woman has been on a break. But a job that has legacy technologies, no problem. And like that, slowly we started solving this as a very specific, actionable problem, right? We said, in fact, for the first full year, the website used to say this is for women returnees in Bangalore. And that's all. Now, at the end of that year is when we had our first paying client. I remember for the next International Women's Day, 2016, we were going to host our first online diversity drive. And when we went to our companies to tell them, would you like to participate in it, one of the companies asked us, how much do I need to pay? And that's when we realized, oh, all right, there you go. There is the product market fit right there. Because now, not only do we have enough jobs, we have enough women, we have enough matches happening where women, and by the way, our first success story through the platform had happened 1 month into starting the platform, where a woman with a 3-4 year career break, Uma Maheshwari, you will never forget your first, okay, had gotten back as a AVP in Kotak Mahindra Bank. Yeah? But now, before we finished our first year, somebody was willing to pay for it. And that actually gave us that confidence that, okay, now we have something that can be made into a business model. So let's look at how do we scale that. And that's when you look at your 0 to 1 journey, for example, I think the key takeaways was that we had to define the core problem very, very clearly and then just focus on solving that core problem. If, frankly, in the beginning, we had decided to take on everything that we're doing today, we would have stopped right when we had started. And of course, it was very important for me as a founder to actually engage with all these users so closely, right? I keep telling my sales team, for example, I was the first salesperson of the company. I keep telling my marketing team, I was the first marketing person of this company. I was also, of course, the person, answering the calls and getting the tea. But regardless, it was very important to actually engage with the users. And for me, the users were both sides, the women as well as the companies. And then, of course, we got into the 1 to 10 journey. Now, for the 1 to 10 journey, we realized that, okay, we have the opportunities, we have the women. Now, what are the other gaps that need to be solved over there? And the biggest gap at that point was that the one thing that all women returnees had in common was that there was a complete loss of confidence. And that loss of confidence happened, and I see people nodding in the audience, and that loss of confidence would happen because, you would feel that your skills are outdated, and that's why you won't be able to catch up. You would feel that no company is going to be okay with, taking you back. You will be judged by your colleagues and your bosses. You would feel that you'll be judged by the rest of society because you would also have that fear that I will become a bad mother, or bad wife, or bad daughter-in-law. And for this, we realized that there's a very different kind of learning that is required if we want women to be able to get these jobs. So in the beginning, it was about getting the jobs for the women, and then it started becoming about how do we prepare women for those jobs. And so what did we do? We partnered with huge number of coaches, industry experts, mentors, learning partners that are already in the ecosystem. We also realized the same way that we can't hire all the women who need to be hired. We can't train and coach all the women that need to be trained and coached. And for that, we again looked at the ecosystem. We also started looking at what are their adjacent needs, right? That besides for the opportunity part, which now was, going really rapidly, right? It was basically like a self-virtuous cycle. As more women were getting these jobs, they were doing well in the companies. There was huge loyalty that these women had to the companies. The companies saw the value. So and so, more and more companies were creating returnee programs, which were specifically for women returnees. So now we looked at this adjacent need, which is the learning piece of it. The key takeaways over here was in that 1 to 10 journey when it comes to growth, it was very important to see not just the core, but what else can you do to serve that audience better. Also during that time, what we did was, of course, we had expanded far beyond Bangalore. It had become women returnees across India, right? So we stayed very focused on our core problem, which was how do you get women back to work. But we also started looking at women who are currently working. Because we realized that even when a woman got that job and got back to the company, she was continuing to use the platform. And that really blew our minds because we were remember I had said that we had written down very specifically, this is for women who are on a break. And when we started talking to them, we realized that, wow, the needs obviously do not end. The challenges don't end. In fact, when you get back to work or when you're currently working, that's when the real challenges are. And so as we started looking at their adjacent needs, we also expanded our market audience, and it became for women who are currently working too. During that period of time, we changed our tagline from ready, set, restart to start, restart, rise. So that it became about these three crucial parts of your journey, whether you want to start, restart, or rise in your career. And then came the 10 to 100 journey. Now, in this 10 to 100 journey, what we realized after some time was that this is not cutting it. Just serving the needs of women when they're looking for a job is not enough. Because, say, that might happen once in 4 years. When she comes on the platform, she finds a job, she's done. If she doesn't find a job, also she's gone. And so it had become a treadmill business. And this is where Vani Kola, who thanks to who we are currently in our 10 to 100 journey, came along and made me realize the incredible power of communities. And this is when we changed, we went through a huge transformation from Jobs for Her to Herkey, because we realized that yes, jobs are very important, but your career has to be a continuous journey. How do we ensure that women stay engaged with their careers through the different ups and downs of their work and their life stages? And we realized that the way for them to do that would be through a career engagement platform where women can actually connect with employers, they can connect with experts, and more importantly, they can also connect with one another so that they can help, inspire, share, learn together, and grow together. And that's why if you see where we are today, I think the key takeaway from this journey has been we need to constantly evaluate the business model and look at the brand alignment. Also, it was very important for us to move from this transactional way of engagement that our women had on the platform, which was search for a job, find the right job, apply for it, right? Or find the right coach and get coaching from that person, versus into a relational engagement with the platform. That, hey, I'm really struggling with work-life balance. I don't know what to do about it. Oh, I go on the platform and look at that. There are sessions happening on work-life balance and how will I solve it? Or there is a lot of content out there where other women are talking about how they have solved it. Or I want to get back to work, but I'm not sure. I go on the platform and look at that. There are lots of sessions where women are talking about their restart journey, or employers are there talking about the job opportunities they have for women returnees. And that's when the real power of technology also came about, right? Because now, today, at this stage where we stand, we have 5 million women on the platform. We have 20,000 companies. We have 2,000 different learning partners. And if we really want to create that impact, and by the way, now that there is Vani Kola, that is not enough. Yeah, our eyes when we are at 5 million are of course on 30 million, on 50 million. How do we solve that same problem for millions and millions of women in India and then maybe in the world? And that will all be part of the 10 to 100 journey, but only if we really leverage technology. And that's why I think if you really look at the lessons that we've had from the Herkey journey, first and foremost at 0 to 1, it was about finding that product market fit, right? Really like checking, does it make sense for your company to even exist? Do you have a particular business model that you can create from this company? Second was then expanding that product market fit, checking what are the adjacent needs of your users, or can you expand your user base? And then third was, of course, evolving it and leveraging technology for that.